Are you tired of feeling like your stomach has its own agenda? Like the bloating, gas, or constant trips to the bathroom are running your life? Welcome to the Beyond Bloated podcast, the podcast where we tackle those frustrating gut issues head on, without strict diets or giving up your favorite foods. I'm Carly, a certified gut health coach who's been there, struggling with bloating that made me look 6 months pregnant, gut pain that kept me from enjoying meals, and fatigue so draining it felt impossible to get through the day. Now, I help women like you find freedom from those symptoms and take back control of their lives. Each week, we'll debunk gut health myths, dive into simple, actionable tips, and hear stories from women who've been exactly where you are. It's time to feel confident, energized, and bloat-free. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond Bloated podcast, or welcome for the very first time. I also want to give a big warm welcome to fall. Hell yeah, it's spooky season. I am so excited. If you know me, you know I'm a fall girly. Halloween is my shit. I am so excited for all the spooky things. And on top of that, I'm actually in Europe right now. No, I did not record this episode while I was in Europe, but I recorded it ahead of time. And if you are listening to this episode on or near its release date, I'm currently in Europe. It is my first time here, and we're hitting the UK, Italy, Greece, and flying home out of Ireland. So it's going to be a whirlwind. I think I'll probably do a podcast episode about it when I return. So stay tuned for that so I can give you all of my bloat-free Euro trip advice. But that's not what we're talking about today. While I am enjoying my Euro trip, I wanted to leave you with some controversial content. And it's honestly insane to me that making a statement like eating oats can support your gut health is considered controversial, because oats are literally a whole food. I actually know that this is one of the things that annoys me the most in the nutrition space. I get so fired up when I hear people talking shit about oats, saying that they're terrible for you, they cause bloating and blood sugar spikes, and therefore should be avoided at all costs. If you are thinking, what the heck are you talking about? People think oats are bad for us? Yes, some people do. But I am not one of them. As a gut health coach, it is my responsibility to set the record straight. Real whole grain oats, like rolled or steel cut, are nutritious and delicious. If you love oats, but you have been avoiding them because of nonsense that you've heard online, today is your lucky day. In today's episode, I am busting the oat-hating myths and sharing why oats deserve a place in your kitchen. Let's start out by talking about some of the common misconceptions about oatmeal. If you are not chronically online, like the vast majority of us, maybe you haven't heard this misinformation being spewed about oats being the worst thing you could possibly eat. I had one client say to me, I was listening to some big health person. I actually don't even know who. I'm clearly not that up to date. But apparently he said, oats are for horses and should be avoided. And I laughed. We all know the saying is hay is for horses. So don't try to go and change that around, sir. Anyway, one of the most popular myths that I hear as a gut health coach is that oats can cause bloating and cause gut irritation. This often comes from people lumping oats together with processed instant oatmeal packets that are loaded with sugar or additives. What I am talking about today, when I say oats, oatmeal, is whole grain oats, rolled steel-cut oats that have not been super highly processed and thrown in a packet with tons of sugar and whatever else they put in there. That is not good for us. No, I agree. That's not what we're talking about today. Another one I commonly hear is that oats contain gluten or proteins that trigger inflammation in the body. Yes, oats can be contaminated with gluten during processing. They are often processed in the same facility that handles wheat. So cross-contamination is absolutely a concern if you have celiac disease. However, pure oats are naturally gluten-free, and most people tolerate them well unless you have celiac disease or a very, very intense gluten sensitivity. You can get around that by buying certified gluten-free oats. This ensures that they have not been processed in a facility that also handles wheat. If that is a concern of yours, get gluten-free certified oats, problem solved. I buy mine at Costco. I get the big, massive bag of rolled oats. They're organic, non-GMO, gluten-free certified, and they're awesome. And you get a big old bag at Costco for like $12. It's a steal. The third myth that probably pisses me off the most is that oats spike blood sugar levels too much. If you eat oats, you're going to have a massive blood sugar spike, followed by the crash. You're going to feel sleepy and overall terrible. That is simply just not true for rolled or steel-cut oats. Those are actually low glycemic and release energy slowly. You also cannot make a blanket statement for every individual. We all are very unique and our blood sugars are different. So to say blanket statement, eating oats is going to cause you to have blood sugar spikes, crashes, lead to insulin resistance, diabetes, is outrageous. And the best part is, you don't even have to take my word for it. I put it to the test. I went out and got a continuous glucose monitor, which you slap on your arm. It monitors your glucose levels 24/7 for 2 weeks. I wore this bad boy. I eat oatmeal for breakfast almost every single day. I make overnight oats, baked oats, I have oatmeal, and I use those rolled oats that are certified gluten-free, organic, etc. from Costco, so I'm not eating the processed shit. Almost every single morning, I ate that for breakfast while I was wearing this monitor. There was no blood sugar spike. I actually did an episode on my findings. If you are curious to learn more about it, I'll link that episode in the show notes. My 2-week experiment of glucose monitoring, and I talk more about my oat experiment in there as well. But there you go. Myth busted. I did not have blood sugar spikes from eating oatmeal almost every single day. I find that myths like these spread like wildfire because extreme diet trends and misinformation cause a lot of fear around common foods like oats. People become afraid of something that they eat almost every single day. They're like, oh my God, I'm having symptoms. I'm eating oats almost every single day. This random influencer online told me oats are causing me to be bloated and have insulin resistance. I need to cut it out. It makes sense. However, we need to do a little digging ourselves and not just believe every single thing we see online. That fear, that misinformation is causing people to miss out on all of the benefits of these beneficial foods that we eliminate from our diet for literally no reason. I say this as someone who has been there. I eliminated oats from my diet for a long time because I also was a fool and I fell for this misinformation. I eliminated eggs from my diet for a long time because the medical medium said to. I had no information behind it. I had no symptoms because of eggs. I just believed it. And so I stopped eating eggs. So I missed out on all the nutritious parts of these foods for months and even years in some cases because I just believed something I saw online. I don't want you to miss out on all of these nutrient-dense foods because of random online comments. So let's talk about the nutritional benefits of oatmeal so you can confidently add it back into your diet and feel good about it. The number one highlight of oats by far is that they are fiber champions. Just a small 1/3 of a cup serving gives you about 4 grams of fiber, which really helps you get closer to your daily target because the majority of people do not even get nearly enough fiber in their diet, which is very, very important for gut health. You need to hit your fiber targets to have a healthy gut, period. The daily target of fiber for women is around 25 grams a day. However, I do think that's a little on the lower side. I personally get 35 upwards each day. However, if you're currently sitting at like a 5 to 10, aiming for 25 is significant. So go low and slow as you increase your fiber. If you go from 5 to 25 in one day, you're going to have problems. I promise you that. But if you add 1/3 of a cup of oatmeal to your day, that's an additional 4 grams of fiber right there. That's a great way to start adding some fiber into your diet. On the topic of fiber, there are 2 different types of fiber. There is soluble and insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber acts like food for your gut bacteria. This is what your good gut bugs feed on. Diversify, keeping them alive. This helps support a happy, healthy gut microbiome. That is very key for digestion and even immune health. I did an episode in the past on how your immune system resides in your gut. This is also a good time to go listen to that episode because I know it's back to school season. Kids are kind of yucky sometimes, so you might be getting sick if your kids are bringing home germs. Go listen to that episode, little sidebar. I'll link that for you. Moving on to insoluble fiber. This is the piece that adds bulk to your stool, which helps keep things regular and comfortable. So if you're dealing with constipation, insoluble fiber is going to be really beneficial because you need bulk to your stool for it to move through your intestines. On top of their incredible fiber power, they also deliver important vitamins and minerals like magnesium, manganese, iron, and B vitamins that help support energy and gut function. They're also a great source of antioxidants that are unique to oats. Am I going to be able to pronounce this word? Let's try. Avenanthramides. That's my best shot. If you are an expert in pronouncing words, don't laugh at me. Anyways, this type of antioxidant is unique to oats and it helps fight inflammation. Beautiful. Okay, so we know for a fact that oats are rich in fiber and both types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. On top of that, they contain a lot of vitamins and minerals that are crucial for energy and gut function. And on top of that, they have a unique antioxidant that helps fight inflammation. Oats are nutritious. There is no arguing that, period. Moving on. Now, why do some people feel bloated after eating oats? I want to point out that it is rarely the oats themselves that is causing the bloating. This really goes back to the message that I spew every single episode, that we are so quick to blame the what, the food. What food did I eat to make me feel like shit? When we don't look at the whole big picture. For example, did you eat a massive portion and did you eat it too fast? Were you distracted when you were eating this food? Were you typing an email at your boss and you're angry and fired up while shoving your mouth full of a whole cup of oats? Something to think about. Not saying you did, not saying you didn't. Another question for you. What toppings are going into your oats? For starters, if you're eating that instant oatmeal from that brand that we all know and personally not a fan of, yeah, that's probably going to cause you to be bloated and feel tired and gross. That's not what we're talking about. Remember, if you are making yourself overnight oats with rolled oats and you still feel bloated, what did you add to that? Nobody just eats oats on their own. If you do, I'm sorry, that's weird. What toppings did you put on that? Because if you are adding a lot of toppings that are high in sugars or even FODMAPs for some people, and trust me, I am not a fan of the low FODMAP diet. That is not what I am suggesting. But if you are having gut troubles and you're eating really high FODMAP foods with sugars and your gut is fermenting those, that can cause gas and bloating. That's something that can be corrected over time. But if that's something you're dealing with right now, that could be the culprit and not oats themselves. How are you cooking your oats? How are you consuming them? If you don't soak them or cook them properly, they can be harder to digest. I personally buy my fancy Costco oats because they are sprouted, which makes them easier to digest. So if you suspect your digestion's a little wonky after eating oats, try the sprouted version. Organic, sprouted, rolled oats, certified gluten-free, Costco. They're there. I hope they're there for you too. If not, you can look it up. The brand is 1 Degree. I see them everywhere, so you should be able to find them no problem. Give that a go instead. Some people actually react to the glyphosate that is sprayed on oats. Oats are heavily sprayed with glyphosate unless stated otherwise. And by otherwise, I mean organic. I do prioritize my fancy Costco oats for a reason. I have had people tell me in the past, I can't eat oatmeal, makes me bloated. So I say, okay, let's try organic. So there's no glyphosate. Let's try sprouted to make it easier on digestion. And let's try certified gluten-free. Just in case you have celiac disease and you don't know, or you have a very severe gluten sensitivity, let's try those 3 things because it's not the oats in any of those situations. it's the chemicals or the cross-contamination or not being as digestible as they can be. If you do have very severe gut issues at the moment and you want to try adding oats back into your diet, a few tweaks for you to help would be to soak your oats overnight. So make overnight oats, or if you're cooking steel-cut oats, cook them for a little bit longer. That's going to help them be more digestible. Start with a smaller portion. So if you're going from 0 oats to a full cup of oats, that's too much. I personally eat about half a cup at a time. If you're just getting started, do a quarter of a cup, do a third of a cup, work your way up. Don't just go full-blown fiber all at once. Choose toppings like berries or seeds instead of apples or honey. Those are higher FODMAP foods. Not saying that's the issue. It might not be, but if we want to test it, berries are low FODMAP, low in sugars, seeds. Give that a go and see if it makes a difference. And most importantly, combine your oats with protein and healthy fat to slow digestion and to help keep your blood sugar levels stable. Hey everyone, Carly here. If you are tired of feeling bloated and uncomfortable, which I know you are, I have something that can really help. My free ultimate guide to bloat busting. I've been there myself, and I know how frustrating it is to try super restrictive diets and expensive supplements without getting results. If those methods were going to work, they would have worked by now. That's why I created this guide to offer you a different approach. In the ultimate guide to bloat busting, you'll learn techniques to listen to your body and eat with intention, avoiding overeating and choosing foods that truly benefit you, tips for proper hydration to support digestion and reduce bloating, a guide to delicious foods that promote a healthy gut and how to easily incorporate them into your meals, and effective methods to manage stress, which plays a huge role in gut health. These simple, practical strategies can make a big difference in your daily life, helping you feel lighter, more energized, and comfortable in your own skin. Ready to ditch the bloat without strict diets or costly supplements? Download your free copy today at beyondbloated.com/ultimate-guide and start your journey to a bloat-free life. Now, let's get back to it. When I make my overnight oats, my baked oats, my oatmeal, I add protein and healthy fats every single time. I do not just eat them on their own. They are a carb. They're a whole food, complex, healthy carb, but just the same as I wouldn't eat a full sweet potato on its own, I'm not going to eat half a cup of oatmeal on its own. Just please keep in mind, oats are not the enemy here. They can actually support gut health when you eat them in the right ways. The reason why I get so fired up when people start talking shit about oats or any sort of whole food. I've heard people talk shit about spinach and kale, oats, who knows what else. I try to tune it out, honestly, because it's so irritating to me. Our grocery stores are packed full with absolute garbage. And I'm not trying to be difficult or fear-mongering. Read the ingredients on any packaged food, and it's filled with sugars, artificial flavors, artificial colorings, ingredients I've never heard of in my entire life because they're not actually food. The food on our grocery shelves is not really food. Unless you're scouring the edges, you're going to your produce, getting your fruits and veggies, you're getting your meats, your eggs, even if you're getting some high quality dairy products, if you can tolerate that, great, good for you. That stuff is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the middle aisles, the packaged foods, the ultra processed stuff, the things that we pass off as food. That is what the problem is. Yet people are out here talking shit about oats, which is a whole food, or spinach, which is literally a frickin' vegetable. Get it together. We have bigger fish to fry than the food that is literally food and coming from the ground. That is not the problem. You are not bloated because you had spinach or kale or because you had oatmeal. There is a deeper problem. What else are you buying at the grocery store? How are you eating your food? What does your lifestyle factors look like? It all contributes, and to just blame all of our problems on a whole food makes me so angry. I think back to my high school and university days and what I used to eat for breakfast then. No joke, I would have a toaster strudel, a Eggo waffle and put syrup all over it, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, any sort of sugary breakfast. Maybe I'd have French toast if my mom made it and I'd drown that in syrup. And by the way, I'm not using like a cool sourdough bread. I'm using like the typical shelf bread that contains bleached, enriched wheat flour, sugar, seed oils, all that garbage. That's what I used to have for breakfast. I would feel tired, irritable, hungry an hour later. That eventually led me to all of the digestive issues that I started experiencing in my mid-20s. But that's what I used to have for breakfast. Now I make overnight oats, baked oats, oatmeal. I add protein powder. I add collagen, hemp seeds, walnuts, almond butter. I add fruit like berries, kiwis, things like that. Maybe I'll sweeten it with applesauce or honey. I put pumpkin in it today. I use all whole foods in my breakfast now. And looking back on what I used to eat versus what I eat now is like the biggest turnaround for me. I'm starting my day with literal food, and the difference in how I feel is incredible. My previous breakfast options, which, by the way, is what's targeted to children and all of us. If you go look at a box of Cheerios, it says it's heart healthy. I beg to differ. Those are the things that are causing bloating and blood sugar spikes, not oats themselves. Real whole grain oats are minimally processed and free from all of that added junk. Choosing oats over processed foods means less inflammation, more fiber, and steady energy to start your day. Plus, oats are affordable and accessible, which is a massive win for your gut and your wallet. Like I mentioned, that big, massive bag of oats that I get at Costco is like $12. It used to be $10. They increased the price because of inflation, I suppose. But go look at a box of cereal these days. That ain't cheap either. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck for a much more nutrient-dense food. Now, I'm not here to force anyone into eating oats. You can do what you want. I'm just here to bust some myths, provide some facts. If you would like to start adding oats into your diet in a very gut-friendly way, I've got some ideas for you. One of my main breakfast staples is overnight oats. You literally soak it in water or some sort of milk alternative. Add your protein powder, some cinnamon, some nuts, some seeds, some ginger, some turmeric, applesauce. There's so many recipes out there. And then I like to top mine with almond butter, strawberries, kiwis. That's kind of been my go-to right now. Maybe I'll drizzle some honey. I don't have an issue with FODMAPs anymore, so we're good. Honestly, look up high-protein overnight oat recipes. You'll find a billion. They're very customizable, and it's so easy. I make like 3, 4, 5 at a time, throw them in the fridge. I have breakfast for the whole week. Love it. If you're a traditional oatmeal kind of girl, you could go for some warm steel-cut oats. Add some nut butter, some seeds, maybe a little dash of cinnamon or turmeric for anti-inflammatory boost. Again, very customizable, but this is the warm version. The overnight oats is more of the cooler version. You could also go savory, which I'm not going to lie, I've never done this myself. I'm a sweet kind of girl. I do like savory once in a while, but I have not wrapped my head around savory oats. I know it exists. I know people do it. So I'm going to provide it as an option. If you do it, please let me know because I need to be convinced to try it. If you want to give it a go, you could make a savory oat bowl and add roasted veggies and a protein source. And again, I'm sure this is very customizable, but I need to wrap my head around it a little more before I go for it. I have, however, added oats to my smoothies before. So you can add rolled oats to a smoothie and blend it up with fruits, veggies, protein powder, whatever else you want in there. And then you've got yourself a quick, gut-friendly meal. If you got to go somewhere, if you need a quick breakfast option, there you go. You can also make oat-based snacks. And this is also something that I do regularly, and I have got my fastball team addicted to this recipe as well. Making energy bites or protein bites, homemade granola or protein bars. The internet is your friend here. Look up recipes using oats as the base. Save yourself some money. Protein bars are expensive. Granola bars are expensive. Most granola and protein bars are not made with the best ingredients. So make them yourself. Save yourself some money. Save your gut some trouble. Use your oats. As you can see, Oats are very versatile. They can be used in breakfasts, they can be used in smoothies, snack recipes, protein bars, all the things. I use oats even in dessert recipes quite frequently. Another tip for you, you can make oat flour by grinding up your rolled oats. I don't buy oat flour. I'll just take a big cup of rolled oats, toss it in my Ninja, blend it. Now you've got oat flour. That's another great thing to use in tons of recipes. I've made oatmeal pancakes before. Like, cutting oats from your diet is so sad because they're so versatile and they can be used in so many things. And you're missing out on that fiber, those nutrients, that antioxidant. I encourage you to try adding oats into your diet. I don't believe in restriction for no reason. If you know you react negatively, that's a different story. But I bet most of you do not. Hopefully this episode helped you see that oats are not the villain that the online nutrition space seems to make them out to be. They are very nutritious, they are fiber rich, and they are gut friendly. I encourage you to add them to your diet if you can, because they will help support gut health as long as you don't have an individual sensitivity to them. Keep in mind that sensitivities are very unique. Some people can be sensitive to the most random things out there, but also keep in mind sensitivities can be reversed. So it does not need to be a forever thing. And don't do what I did and just eliminate food from your diet with no rhyme or reason. Don't listen to the online chatter. Listen to your body. If you can eat oats and feel good, why have you eliminated them? If you have any other questions related to oats or other random whole foods that have been demonized, send them my way. You can reach me by email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. Send me an Instagram DM at beyond.bloated, or you can send me a text using the link in the show notes that says send me a text. That is the anonymous way to reach me. Do not see your name, do not see your phone number. I also cannot reply to you via text, so I will answer your question on an upcoming podcast episode if you send them that way. If you are having very severe gut issues and find you are reacting to tons of foods, including oats, then you may need to dig a little deeper, and I got your back. So apply to my one-on-one coaching program. Link is also in the show notes so we can chat and see what's going on there. I would absolutely love to support you in getting your gut to a place where you can enjoy oats again. Because as I mentioned, I used to have a ton of food sensitivities. I eliminated a bunch of foods, some for reasons, some for no reasons. But at the end of the day, 5+ years later, I reversed all those sensitivities. I'm good to go. And I would absolutely love to help you do the same. Can't wait to hear from you, either from your questions, your program application, or any other way you decide to reach out to me. If not, you will still be hearing from me next week. Did you learn something new and useful today? If the answer is a big, resounding hell yeah, do me a favor. Subscribe to this podcast. Even better, toss a rating in there too. It helps more bloated babes discover this show and lets me keep bringing you this free, gut-loving content every single week. And hey, don't be greedy. Share this episode with your bestie who's always unbuttoning her pants after dinner. She will love you even more for it. Thanks for hanging out with me and showing your gut some love. Keep on putting what you learn into practice and you will be bloat-free in no time. Catch you in the next one. Bye!